So explain to people that may not be familiar with your stuff that you've spoken so openly and clearly about, how would you characterize your mental illness?
Um, in 2019 was the first time I heard the term borderline, and my therapist at the time, who's my therapist now, I was like, so I'm borderline, and he would always say you have traits of it. People tell me I'm like manic, like what is it, or BPD, borderline person. I love having them diagnosed with me, by the way. You have borderline personality disorder, sure. You're manic because you're like manic depressive because one day you're super sad and one day you're super happy. Everything's one day at a time. Take everything one day at a time. I'm like the happiest I've been in a long time. So, you know, whatever. Everybody goes through these emotions. Don't let anyone call you crazy. People just resort to crazy because it's easy. I have borderline personality disorder, which I have been diagnosed with before, but that's a whole other story. People diagnose me with like random things all the time that I feel like are not. I've literally been diagnosed with everything, which I feel like I can't have every single mental illness in the whole world, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No. I was diagnosed with bipolar, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, and multiple personality disorder like the whole time of my life.
Since you were a kid?
Yeah, since I was like 14, those are like the 4 things I've been diagnosed with.
People love to do that. People do that all the time. Like, you clearly have borderline personality disorder. You clearly have, I'm like, you see like 2 seconds of a vlog, people are so dumb. Oh my God, I see peeps.
I mean, do you though?
No, I know, and I would totally be so honest because like I love saying like, oh, I have this, I love being like, but like I've literally gone to so many like therapists, like I want medication for something. I'm like, tell me I'm something.
We do put our lives out there, but to diagnose someone, he puts in the description like Trisha has borderline personality disorder. I don't. Like, I've never been actually diagnosed, so I'm not really sure. I can't be like, I'm bipolar, I am borderline personality.
I didn't acknowledge it for so long because I've never been properly diagnosed. You know, everyone has levels. They all have characteristics. You could have characteristics of BPT, you could have characteristics of this. You know, it's hard to just diagnose, but he did refer me to this program almost immediately. So I think he had the same sort of assumption, which he's allowed to have because that's his profession.
Yeah, that's kind of me. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I go to DBT classes. Where's my camera?
It's right here.
I go to DBT classes, okay? I get it under control.
What's
I'm
DBT?
fine. For borderline personality disorder, a lot of people think I have BPD, and I go to DBT for it. It's group therapy. I take the skills. I do the lessons. Been going since May 8th. What's up?
Isn't borderline personality, or I'm thinking of antisocial. What is borderline personality disorder?
I don't know. People diagnose me with it, so I don't know.
Okay.
People like online. Well, my therapist did tell me to go to these DBT classes.
Do you have a personality disorder? Do you have some kind of diagnosis?
I've never been diagnosed.
I have gone to DBT classes, and if you guys don't know what DBT group classes are, it's for people who are with borderline personality disorder. To say I got like a diagnosis handwritten from a doctor, no. Did he refer me to go to DBT classes? Yes. My therapist that I talked to, I asked him straight up, I'm like, so am I borderline? Am I bipolar? Like, am I schizo? Like, there's, you know, all these things. And he's like, well, you have traits of a lot of things, so I can't really say it's one, you know, you're definitely bipolar. People think I manipulate the audience by talking about borderline in general, because this is a recent diagnosis as of last year and going into therapy. For people with borderline, and this is all new to me, for even to call myself borderline or mental illness, like, it's all very new. I would always say no one diagnosed me because no one diagnosed me properly. People would say I was bipolar, and I wasn't. I would be on bipolar medication, and it really screwed up my chemicals in my brain, like off the deep end. So I never, and so it wasn't until May of last year where I started seeking treatment, and he's like, yeah, you're this, go to these classes. It was the first time I ever heard of DPT.
Because, like, here's the thing. Yes, I have been, I guess, diagnosed. I don't know. Therapists have told me to go to DBT classes, say I have traits of BPT. I've never really been like, this is you, but I pretty much think it's me. I'm also a BPD, a borderline personality. My first therapist who diagnosed me with borderline was like, who I still go to, was like, you have traits of borderline. I'm like, okay, I'm a borderline, so you have traits of it. And just like everyone's like, you weren't diagnosed with schizophrenia, it's the same way I wasn't really diagnosed with borderline. I'd ask every therapist, do I have borderline personality? They're like, well, you have traits of it. Well, what does that mean? Is that yes? Is that a no? Same way, you go to DBT, you have traits of borderline, but nobody writes it down in writing for me. But at the end of the day, I am mentally ill. I am a borderline personality disorder. Same thing with borderline. I guess to say that I'm not an actual diagnosed borderline. I'm 33 years old, was diagnosed with borderline when I was just 29 years old.
You know, I didn't even know I was borderline until I was like 29.